So how are you doing, really? The Barna Group recently did some research and released those findings that show that pastoral well-being, unfortunately, is plummeting. In this video, we're going to look at the research and kind of evaluate what's going on and then give a path forward on what we can do as pastors so that we can keep ministering for the long haul, and we can do it in the healthiest version of ourselves, that we can not just survive but thrive. So in this video, if you're a pastor, you'll want to look at this because this is probably conducive to how you've been experiencing things or how your ministry friends are, and things that you should be aware of so that you can guard your heart and guard your life against falling into some of these things. So let's look at it. They looked at and compared numbers that they had in 2015 to numbers that they just recently found in 2022. So these come from actual surveys from senior pastors, where they asked them a number of questions on their just well-being, like spiritually, emotionally, physically, overall quality of life, the amount of respect that people have for them and their community, and their perception of, do they have true friends? And a number of these findings are concerning. So spiritual well-being, the blue is excellent, green is good, blue is average, the lighter blue is average, and then below average is like this purple, and then gray is poor. So if you look at this, spiritual well-being, 37% back in 2015 of pastors said they're doing excellent, and that's great. But then 2022 happened, only 14%. That's more than half slid from excellent to something else. Those who said they were doing good, went from 51% to 57%. So it could be that a percentage went from excellent to good. That's still good. That's what we would hope for pastors. Obviously we have lives and we have struggles and we have moments where we wrestle with the Lord. So good in our spiritual well-being, that's still pretty good. But then average went from 10% up to 23%, more than doubled. And then 2% being below average went up to 5%. I mean, these are significant changes over the course of 7 years. Physical well-being showed much of the same, that the amount of excellent went down, average or good went up, so that's good. But then the average went from 26%, saying that they felt like an average physical well-being, they're I'm okay, to 34%. And then it tripled. Those who said, my physical well-being is below average, I'm just not taking care of myself. Maybe you're dealing with chronic pain. Maybe you're dealing with some kind of hardship, or maybe just overeating because you're coping through those mechanisms. Went from 6% to 18% below average, and went from 1% poor, straight up poor, I'm doing terrible in this, to 4%. So it quadrupled in just a matter of 7 years. These are significant shifts. Mental and emotional health, 39% said excellent back in 2015, 46% said good. But now 11% said excellent, 46% still said good. So you have a 28% difference in those who are doing either excellent or good. A 32% went from 12% being average up to 32% feeling like an average mental and emotional health. It's not good. Pastors saying hey, I'm just not doing well up here and in my heart. Overall quality of life, it's again more of the same. Went from 1% of below average to 5%. 5x. I don't even know, quadruple. What's the 5? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Respect that pastors are receiving from their community, more of the same. More growth in average, more growth in just good, and declines in excellent. And some just hey, it's terrible, it's really bad, or I just don't even know anymore, showing in 2022. Now, having true friends, this is another interesting finding, and it's really sad because of, I believe, as a pastor, you've had to take some stances. You have to lead from the front. Leadership, oftentimes, no matter what industry it is, can be an isolating endeavor. And having true friends went from 34% feeling like they had some true friends, excellent, went down to 17%. That halved it, right? That halved it. And then good, 33%, went down to 30%. So the net, adjustment is quite a lot, down to average is 5%. But then below average friendships went from 10% to 20%. And then went from poor, like I have no friends, or most of the people I deal with on a daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis, they just, like, we're not friends. They don't care about me. Like, that kind of feeling went from 2% to 7%. Like, it's just not a good, like, prospect for the future of the pastorate, right? Pastors' emotions then and now. Less people are energized by their work. More people are lonely and isolated from others. Less people are well supported by people close to them. Many people are still feeling inadequate. There's actually like a slight increase in inadequacy, feeling of inadequacy. Those who say that they're motivated to become a better leader, like more people are saying like, yeah, I feel pretty motivated. Like I'm sometimes motivated. I think because we've taken a number of hits. A lot of pastors, you may resonate with this. You got some wounds and you're just tired and you've been worn out and you kept trying to plod, and you just feel a little tired. And then emotionally or mentally exhausted, 21% say I frequently am, exhausted emotionally. Back in 2015, that's jumped up to 32% in 2022. And then sometimes I feel mentally exhausted. That's actually gone down, like sometimes, because most of the people went to say, yeah, it's frequent. So less people are saying that they're seldomly emotionally or mentally exhausted. These are alarming findings that pastoral well-being overall, at least in America, Protestants, it's pastoral well-being is plummeting. And, as a pastor on the other side of the screen, the thing that the Barna group points to is the same thing that I would point to, and I want to add a couple things more. They point to rest and the idea of the Sabbath. One of the things that my wife and I started back in 2018, I believe, was practicing the Sabbath. Like every Saturday, we set aside 24 hours to just be, to enjoy the Lord, to rest, to cease from working, and that even includes chores around the house, so that means you got to get it done at other times. And just being able to delight in the Lord and prioritize rest. In fact, we added as one of our core values as a family on a crest that I've still got to get it designed, but it's going to be cool. Is one of them is rest. One of the core values is rest, that we teach our kids what it looks like to rest, because we live in a frantic society, right? And ministry is one of those occupations where like the to-do list never ends. Every week you don't get everything done. Like that literally is the case. There's always something more to do. And so if you're not taking time to Sabbath and enjoy the Lord and just plug it, like turn the plugs off, like, right? Like get away, then you're going to probably experience some of these plummeting of well-being, because you just can't continue to go at the same pace that you have. I mean, I've said it this way when I've taught to the church, that either you're going to Sabbath or the Lord will eventually force you to Sabbath, because you're going to find yourself being sick. You're just going to run out of steam, run out of gas. And that's what we're seeing, it seems, from a number of pastors. So are you prioritizing rest? That would be my first question. And then the other thing would be, are you taking the vacation time that you have allotted for you? And if you need more, are you willing to ask your leaders for that? And then the third thing I'd say is, are you prioritizing fun and enjoyment? What I know about me, and I don't know if this is the same about you, but what I know about me is that I need to not only work hard, but I need to play hard. That when I'm in seasons of hard work, like I need to set aside time to go out and have fun. Like for me, going to sporting events, playing sports, going to concerts and events, going out to eat, like being a part of crowds, or going to the lake, or going and just getting away with my family, spending time with friends and just enjoying each other's companies, especially when I'm with friends that like they're not looking at me as their pastor, they're just looking at me as Brandon. So do you have those kinds of rhythms built into your life, and are you practicing it? I mean, I get the struggle. I mean, for me, we've got young kids at home, so that adds another challenge in order to, actually make these things happen, to prioritize date nights with my wife. It's been a struggle, but we find ways to prioritize it. And if we can't go somewhere, then we try to make sure that we are having fun and enjoying each other's company here at home. So like whatever you've got to do, your well-being is worth it. I mean, the old adage, the cliche, right, is when you're in the airplane and the stewardess is going through the kind of typical situation, if you were to ever have like just crazy turbulence and, possibly go and be a crash landing or whatever, they drop the oxygen masks down, and what do they say? They say, be sure to put yours on first. No matter who's next to you, you got to put yours on first, because if you're not getting the air, you're not going to be able to help anybody else. And so, like, hopefully this is just a check for you. Maybe you don't find yourself just where you're like, yeah, I'm doing terrible in a lot of these areas. So, like, maybe for you it's just a check. And just to say, okay, I need to make sure I'm prioritizing this even more than I already am. Or maybe you're in the spot where you would say, yeah, I'm really struggling with this. I'm really struggling. Then I'd say, are you talking to anybody? Are you taking anybody to lunch and just sharing what's on your heart? Are you externalizing your feelings? Have you gone to counseling? Are you doing the work? There's so many other things that we could point to in terms of just good, regular habits. They're the things that you already know you should be doing. It's just a matter, like, you're not doing them. And so, like, what is it for you? Maybe you need a break. Maybe you need to take some time away. Because if you're not doing well, then you're not going to be able to do well for others. So what is it for you? I'm curious just where you resonate in this finding, in this research. Just leave a comment below. Let us know if, hey, I'm doing pretty well. Or, hey, I could really use some prayer. And let's use YouTube comments to be praying for some fellow pastors who are in ministry, who are in the trenches and just plodding away. Let's do that. Let me know in the comments below, and I'd love to be praying for you. And hey, before you go, I just want to give you a free gift. One of the things that might contribute to us feeling stuck is not having a plan, not being intentional with our leadership. And I've got just the thing for you. It's called the Intentional Pastors Roadmap. You can get it at preachandlead.com/roadmap, and it's going to give you the tools, the kind of pathway that you need in order to go from like kind of passively leading to leading with intention and direction. Because I know for me, if I'm feeling stuck, then that's going to impact my well-being, because work is a big part of my life and a big part of like just my mood. So if you want some help in leading your congregation into the future with intentionality, go to preachandlead.com/roadmap and grab your free download there. I'd love to help you and partner with you as you lead into the future. And be sure to check out this video. It's 5 things that great leaders do in hard times. They're the things that, okay, things aren't going to get easier. They might even just get harder. So what do we do in the midst of a world like that? How do we lead well in the midst of hard times? I talk about those things right there. So go right there, and I'll see you in that video.